Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. The acting secretary will support the president as the United States and Japan seek to strengthen the U.S.-Japan alliance, the cornerstone of peace and security in the Indo-Pacific region, and continue their close coordination on the global maximum pressure campaign toward the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. While at Mar-a-Lago, Acting Secretary Sullivan will participate in the President's bilateral meetings with Prime Minister Abe and will meet separately with members of Japanese leadership to underscore the President's priorities. The summit will also include a discussion of our shared priorities across the Indo-Pacific region, including Japan and the United States working together to promote high-quality trade and investment standards, freedom of the seas, respect for human rights, and also international law. Acting Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia and Pacific Affairs, Susan Thornton, and Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Japan, Julie Chung, also traveled to Mar-a-Lago to accompany the Acting Secretary. Last thing I'd like to announce, this week we are welcoming more than 80 law enforcement and security officials from around the world to take part in the Toward a More Safe and Secure World initiative. Participants from more than 50 countries, including Argentina, France, Bangladesh, and Kazakhstan, include judicial, law enforcement, security, and defense officials, also criminologists and other professionals who work within the spheres of transnational crime and terrorism. The department has partnered with the National Defense University to provide a two-day plenary in Washington, D.C., with top public and private sector security experts. Participants of the International Visitor Leadership Program, IVLP, will also travel to communities across the United States and meet with federal, regional, and local law enforcement officers to discuss closer international cooperation to address key security issues facing the global community. They will travel to cities including Montana, Helena, Montana, lucky, Reno, Nevada, Los Angeles, and also Des Moines, Iowa, to explore methods to neutralize global criminal activities such as drug trafficking, trafficking in persons, money laundering, and countering extremism. The initiative will conclude with a counter-drug task force training in Tampa. Whoever wrote this doesn't understand the alliteration. Thanks a lot. Followed by the annual Global Security Conference sponsored by the State Department and also the FBI's New York field office in New York City. The program is another example of how the United States and other countries are working together to enhance efforts to combat transnational crime. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.
So there's a lot of transnational crime in Helena, Montana.
Apparently there is, but they're lucky they get to go to Montana, your home state.
Well, not quite. Close, but not quite.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Syria,
Okay.
please. What is your latest understanding of the inspection team, the OPCW inspection team, and their access or lack thereof to the site of the attack? And then yesterday, your representative at the OPCW said, I think the first time that an official has said this publicly, at least on the record, that you're concerned that Russia and Syria may have tampered with the site in order to try to cover up whatever evidence there might be of a chemical attack. Can you explain why you have that concern?
Sure. So first off, let me ask you all, if anyone did not get a copy of our permanent representative's statement on the OPCW as it pertains to Syria, please let us know, because we do have a copy of that. We'd be happy to provide you, so let us know that. Part of the concern, Matt, is the longer that it takes to get OPCW inspectors in to take a look at soil samples and other information that they can get in the ground, that delay further degrades any evidence that's on the ground. So that is our chief concern. We want them to be able to get in as quickly as possible, as safely as possible, but we also want that evidence to be as pure as possible for their investigation. We are certainly aware that Syrian state media was reporting earlier today that the team has been able to enter Douma. We can't independently confirm that at this time. Our sources, which we consider to be reliable, indicate that the team has not yet been able to enter Douma. So that is our understanding of the situation, at least as of right now.
Well, does that mean then that they're still in Damascus, or that they may have gotten to the town, but they just haven't gotten to the site, or what?
I can just say our understanding is that the team has not entered Douma.
And then the other thing is, in answer to my question about the tampering, you just talked about degradation. That's a little bit different than
right. And that's what I was addressing. The longer it takes for teams to be able to get there, the better the chances are that the evidence will deteriorate. So that's part of it. I was talking about time. As it pertains to tampering, to your question, let me go back to our permanent representative's comments from yesterday and just read a portion of this because it was put out by Ambassador Kenneth Ward. He said, "It is our understanding that the Russians may have visited the attack site. We are concerned that they may have tampered with the intent of thwarting the efforts of the OPCW fact-finding mission to conduct an effective investigation. This raises serious questions about the ability of the fact-finding mission to do its job." So I think in his statement, that's just a few sentences from it. I think it's clear the concerns that U.S. and other officials, the French came out and basically said the same thing earlier today that we have about that.
I get that, but that statement that you just read from him is very heavily qualified. There's two may-haves in there. Why do you think that? Why do you say may have? What is the information that you have that leads you to say the Russians and the Syrians may have? I mean, we can say the same thing.
I want to be sensitive about this, and I hope you will understand. The situation on the ground is extremely volatile there. We have organizations that we work closely with on the ground who are under threat each and every day. Some of these people, some Syrians, some from other countries, take their lives into risk. Their lives are at risk each and every day that they could potentially provide any information to, whether it's an NGO or another country. So we want to be extremely sensitive and careful about this. We don't want anyone to risk their lives further than they already are. So some of this stuff is just we're going to be very cautious about providing it, and some of it will just be intelligence information.
I'm not asking for like photographic evidence, although I'm sure some.
Ready, two. Ready, doors. Ready, pop. Open.